Shalom, y'all. Myand is here with this week's Facetiously Familial, where everyone's a philosopher and nobody does research. Joining me today are my two usual co-hosts, my mom and brother. Welcome back, John.
Yo, finally back from China.
Welcome back to the country.
Welcome back to the time zone.
Oh, yeah.
I was just telling Dan, so I tried to do a thing where I reset my sleep schedule, and so that means I stay up until it's the normal time to go to bed. And that worked for one day, and then the very next night I stayed up until 5 a.m. And then again the night after. Woke up that second day going like, I feel pretty good. What time is it? 2 p.m.
Shit.
Ah, fuck.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so funny.
So, John, how was your trip?
It was fun. A lot of time in the airplane.
Oh, yeah. It's like a 12-hour flight, isn't it?
It was like, it was somewhere between like 12 and 14. I find after the 8-hour mark, it all just kind of blends together.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's a 5-hour flight to San Francisco, and then like that 12, 13,
Forever.
14. However, it actually really wasn't bad on my flight to Chengdu because it left at 1 a.m. So the flight was basically abandoned. So I got an entire row to myself.
Nice.
I got a row to myself in almost every flight.
I hate you a lot.
On the way to San Francisco, on the way to Chengdu.
So, Mom, what you need to learn how to do is accept the fact that you're going to be flying at just horrific times.
Oh,
So just...
Well,
I mean, I did have a 15-hour layover in San Francisco.
you did. You did. Well, and what was funny, so last night, Dad and I were watching Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Finally, I love that movie. I love that movie. I love that movie. Have I mentioned? I love that movie. But it was so funny because, of course, we've been to Singapore a lot when we were living in the Philippines. And, oh my God, is it different? I was like, I will take the 14-hour flight and being exhausted and to eat at the Hawker Center one more time and see all these new buildings. Oh my God. That was incredible. And
At this point, we should probably point out that Mom is the daughter of an architect, and so buildings are her art form of choice.
Oh, they're beautiful. And they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I mean, and when we were there...
So, Mom,
it felt like... Oh, go ahead.
I just came back from a improv class, and the thing that I learned was ACE, action, color, emotion. So, Mom, color, describe for me, why are they beautiful?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so when we went to Singapore the last time, there were 3 quarters. And there were the Arab quarter, the Indian quarter, and the Chinese quarter.
I don't think I understand what the word quarter means.
I know. I realized as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like going, shit. Area.
Region. Socioeconomic, political stuff.
Right.
Not referring to 1/4 of the city.
Okay, I'd flip you off, but that would just be wrong. Okay, so everything was brown, and brown.
So
and now
my wardrobe.
Everything is like, it is steel and white and gray and black, and then it has lights that change the color, so they're like purple and green, and it was amazing. Because when we went there the very first time, we went there in I can't remember. I think it might have been November, but I mean, it's so warm all the time, you know, that it didn't stick out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They had all of the lights for Christmas. And so every single street you walk down had all these beautiful lights, and they had the Singapore thing and the Selangor and all this stuff. But it was like a paste on.
Mm-hmm.
This now, the city looks like what the paste on looked like. It's
Oh,
stunning,
that
stunning.
is an interesting change.
Yeah. So, want to go?
Yes. The only limiting factor at this point is the fact that I still don't have time off. I need to, so my job, it's a very small company, and so presumably they've been screwed in the past by people coming on, taking all of their PTO and leaving. Um, and so I don't get paid time off until um, a year after staying there. So I've got about 6 more months before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Although,
And so I
yeah.
will be requesting time off to go to Gen Con, but that will be requested, not a I'm taking this time off.
I still prefer how my company does it. You actually have
Okay.
to earn your time off, or
Okay.
how my old company does it.
I
So
was
I have a
gonna say.
recommendation for PTO. Try being unemployed.
Well, you got the
I
TO part.
I mean, I just disappeared for 10 days and no one noticed.
We did.
That was a
I
joke.
didn't. We did a couple of podcasts that were a bit earlier in the day and very much so shorter.
Particularly, oh my goodness. Yeah, the last one.
Hey,
Gotta go.
it was fun.
Gotta go, choir.
Yeah, it was. So on Wednesday, John, Mom and I recorded a podcast, and due to traffic, I showed up at about 5:30. Mom needed to head out at 5:45. So it's a 15-minute just micro conversation.
Just delay the episode, record the next day.
No,
No.
never. Actually, we did that once. So we have missed one day's upload, but hey, it was fun.
That is okay. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
you gotta live, otherwise you have nothing to podcast about. Like,
yeah.
seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been
Singing
funny.
stuff
We've
to
been
do.
go ahead.
We had singing stuff to do.
Yeah. Well, what's funny though is I have been our house is close to the airport, and we have been the parking lot for everyone who is living their life and getting stuff to podcast about. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where we had 3 cars that weren't ours.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh my.
Mine.
Yes.
In particular, I love the fact that Uncle Jerry parked his car in the yard.
Well, we're in Kentucky. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You destroy your yard.
Hey, we have lived here 25 years and there is still grass growing in the side yard. Thank you
True.
very much.
Which
True.
is
It's
where
really
people have
fun.
always parked their cars
But there's a difference between parking your car for one day or
versus
one
a
night.
couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I moved his car, which was really fun because it's a convertible BMW. So that was really fun to move the car.
So did you notice the missing lever? I hear they don't have turn signals.
No, they have
It's
turn
supposed to be a joke, Mom.
Oh,
Oh.
my God.
Because BMW people don't use their turn signal.
Oh,
Because they're
sorry.
assholes.
Because they're assholes. So, once Mom is finished with her moving the car story, just riveting stuff there, we should get to the riveting stuff of how Uncle Jerry got his car.
Oh, that was great.
So, Mom, you're moving the car story. It was very nice. It's a BMW convertible.
Okay, go ahead. Tell the story.
How'd you deal with the ghost?
So, what happened? Our uncle is not a particularly wealthy man. He does not live in the rung of society that you would expect a convertible BMW to be in. He is
couldn't afford a convertible BMW, except
that the owner of this BMW was shot and killed inside of it. And there was all kind of
I
blood
forgot.
splatter inside of it. So when the car got repossessed, they redid all the upholstery, cleaned it out, it's perfectly fine, but they are required to say that somebody was killed in this car. And so it was like 70% off. So this wonderfully nice car was piss cheap.
That is funny. I forgot about that.
So, Mom,
Mhm.
how did you deal with the ghost?
Well, we made friends. I invited him to tea, and we just enjoyed our life together.
Sounds like a good way to handle it.
I can't believe I forgot that story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part about it.
It
Totally.
is.
That's
It is. Okay, so what's funny? I'm sorry, my mind jumped tracks because you were
Please
talking
do.
about ghosts, and I went to. Um, so tomorrow is Easter, and we're
Dating the podcast.
well. Hey, you know what? I don't mind. I'm okay with that.
hmm
2019. Let's date it more. Okay. Um, and but what was funny is, okay, it was pouring down with rain yesterday, and
Yeah.
we have little kids coming, and I am like, what am I gonna do? So I ordered 3 movies.
Oh,
Okay, they're all by the same guy. I want you guys to guess what
Shaun
he.
of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, In at the End of the World.
Oh my God. Okay, that would be so much better than what I bought. Oh,
Hideo Miyazaki.
yes, 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 yes. Can you guess which movies?
My Neighbor
I
Totoro.
yes,
Uh,
Totoro
it's not going to be
Yes.
Spirited Away. It's going to be Kiki's Magical Adventure.
delivery
Kiki.
service
Delivery service.
Thank you. Delivery service.
and Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh my God, you guys are good.
We know that
What?
you.
No Grave of the Fireflies?
That's not Miyazaki. That's
Is it?
shit. Who is that?
I thought that was Studio Ghibli.
It might
Well,
have.
but he didn't. He's not the only one there.
Yeah.
They put out a lot of stuff that is not him.
So I think it was by the same guy who did 5 centimeters per second and Your
Oh,
Name. I forget.
Isao Takahata.
Yes. Generally his stuff is just absurdly sad and depressing, and so the only like even moderately happy movie of his is Your Name.
Speaking of, apparently Chilin is kind of a hidden weeb. So she just recently moved to Seattle for a couple months for an internship. And we were exploring Seattle's Chinatown, which really
Yeah.
needs to be renamed to just like Asia
Asia
Town.
Town.
Yeah. So we go to this bookstore in Chinatown, all Japanese. Massive wall of manga,
Hmm.
a lot of My Neighbor Totoro stuff everywhere. And I was putting things out to her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." Like, apparently she's seen Your Name.
Oh.
I haven't seen that.
So I should have ordered that one instead, eh?
It
Oh,
is a wonderful movie.
I don't know about for that age range.
Yeah, it's definitely a preteen young adult movie. There's nothing bad about it. It's just not it wouldn't be engaging for Hugh, we'll put it that way. It
Well,
is utterly gorgeous. It has a phenomenal soundtrack, but it's not targeted to the 7 and below crowd.
well, the reason why I went out and got those, the other reason why I went out and got those movies. So
Mm-hmm.
I was unexpectedly substitute teaching on a day for 4th and 5th graders on a day where, one of those like field day kind of days. This
Mm-hmm.
one was the walkathon, and and yeah, so like it's all free time all the time, and I don't even know all the kids' names. I know some of them, and I know some of them
You
really
have like
well.
7 kids.
No. There are 5 5th graders, but there are a whole lot more 4th graders. I'm sorry, the cat's crying.
Hi, cat.
Cat
So
tax.
this is, Joy's butt. Anyway, so they set me up on the whiteboard with a movie, and there were two movies that she walked in with. And I believe in student choice because students buy in better if they choose. Oh, son of a gun. It was, there were not words to describe the choices. There's the new Willy Wonka, where they torture children,
Yep.
and Little Rascals, where it's children being mean to children. So it's like, what are we doing to these kids? We're at school. Is this their formation? And I know it was just people who went anything to get this woman through the day.
Yes.
But it was terrible. It was terrible.
Give us some Brave. Give us some Cars.
Yes. Brave is another movie I want to own because I love Brave. It's my
Still
favorite.
have never seen that.
What's wrong with you?
It's really good.
Many things.
Well, yes.
Speaking about movies, Hainan Airlines, they need to stop being Chinese for like a couple hours. So apparently the Chinese have a really hard time getting movie rights. So I was looking through the movie selection, and can we say a little lackluster?
So you didn't go for some Bruce Lee movies?
I don't know if they had those.
I don't think they would have the rights to. Oh well.
Maybe.
Well.
He started out as an actor in Hong Kong before he got moved over to Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on!
Yeah,
Get some good kung fu movie up in this. So.
Well, I didn't want to get like all amped up to sit down on a massive flight.
So, in that vein of kung fu movies, I just saw Kung Fu Hustle last weekend, and it is a very Chinese movie with I don't like the ending so much because it gives a jackass of a main character a win that he does not deserve at all.
I hate that.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You have to earn it.
Yeah, throughout this entire movie, his adult self has just been the biggest dickhead to this mute girl selling ice cream, and then they get together in the end for absolutely no reason. And I'm sitting there going like, bullshit. But the rest of the movie is a lot of fun and it's really funny.
Well, that was one of my favorite comments by Mary Robinette Kowal. I mean, it's like, you know how some things just really stick out. She was talking about, I think it was Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
And there's this moment where, the music swells and it, puts tears in your eyes. And she's like, but they hadn't earned it yet. And so they did the emotional component right. So they got her in, but she still was like, no, it's just, you haven't earned that from me yet. This is not that good.
They didn't earn it with the D-Day scene?
Well, this was, I don't remember exactly what it was. I cannot argue that part, but it made me realize, like when you watch things that are like tear jerkers, they've got to give you a reason to buy in other than you bought a ticket.
Yes.
And gave them the time. Like we had a friend at the library, the guy who I checked the movie out from, he was like, he hated Crazy Rich Asians. Oh. Because they hadn't earned the love from someone who had never been to Singapore. Where we were like, we were insane. We know enough about Chinese culture. We know enough about Singapore. We just thought it was amazing. And he looked at it and went, meh.
So they didn't explain why the movie was good in the movie.
Right. They didn't explain enough about the culture because those guys all grew up in it because it was an all Asian cast. Or all, either Asian or American Asian or Canadian Asian or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was really, really I couldn't believe he didn't like it. What's wrong with you? This shit's funny. I mean, I loved it. But I have a pretty low bar, you know.
Yeah.
Trust me. There's so many mean things I could say right now.
Please don't. Please don't. I know.
I managed to catch myself
You
halfway
see,
through that one. I was
That's
just like,
charming.
ah!
here's
No.
the good thing
No.
about Mom's low bar. If you think something is mildly enjoyable, you can show it to Mom and make it like 3 or 4 times better because she buys in immediately.
Oh yeah, I showed her Kaguya. And she
Oh,
just,
nice.
Yeah. Love.
And I showed
Love is
Mom
war.
Mob Psycho.
And I loved,
see, I'm not a
absolutely
huge fan of
loved
Mob
it.
Psycho.
Really? Okay, why not?
For me, it's part of like the changing of the art style. Every time it was like, if I was reading it, that'd be fine, but because I'm sitting down reading. But for when I'm watching it, all of a sudden I get placed back into the fact that I'm sitting down watching it, doing just sitting.
That
And
kicks you out? That's
yeah, and I'm
interesting.
just like, no.
I always appreciate the changes in art styles, like, especially for supernatural stuff, because it should feel out of place.
See, I like it in JoJo because they just change all the colors.
Yes. So it's the media changes that you dislike. When they
Yes.
go from standard 2D animation to paint on glass to
To pencil sketches.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I
You're
found those to really accentuate things for me. I
They
loved.
definitely do. They definitely
Mhm.
do. It's just they draw me out of the experience.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, that is funny. Wow. But I like the one that was all paint on glass, the final
The
credits.
ED. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That was amazing. By the way, can I point out the strangest thing ever?
Oh.
So, Daniel, your hair is, becoming a thing. It is so weird, though, that you have a part in your hair when you have no, like, part in your hair. That how you have, like,
On your right
that
side,
one
Dan.
side.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's weird. And yeah, it's like you have a part in your hair when it grows out. How does that work?
I don't know. My hair is magic, and it just does whatever it feels like.
Yeah, it really is like magic and weird.
It
I love it.
also might be an issue with the mic with
No,
my headset, and
No.
so like
No, it's
I
going
have
the
No.
wrong
no idea
direction.
if this causes it to not look ported, but
well, a little bit less, but not a lot less. A little bit less.
Mhm.
Anyway, so. Yeah.
It has. So I do plan on cutting it relatively soon. I've been waiting for essentially a reason to, because my general reason is that it gets too damn long and it just becomes annoying. For example, I currently have hair inside of my earphones and I can feel it and it's annoying. But that's not good enough. And I just found my reason today because, again, I went to an improv class today. And I,
Hold on. You
yes,
went to that improv class today?
yes, it started at 10 a.m. and ended at 11.
You woke up early enough on a Saturday to go to a class?
Yes, I do my absolute best to keep an early morning schedule because I have learned that while I don't consider myself a morning person, I only ever do shit in the mornings. As soon as it hits like noon to 2 o'clock, I just drop off productivity like a fucking stone
I
and
apologize.
don't do anything else with the rest of my day. So if I have plans for, I don't know, editing a video, I need to do that early because I will not after 3 o'clock.
Right. I'm with you. Absolutely.
So it
Too
doesn't
crazy.
make me happy to be up that early. I love spending as much time as I can in my bed, but if I have plans for the day, yeah, I'm getting up.
What is this plans for the day thing?
It comes with a job. You start learning that you have to have a structure.
You know, I think even when I had a job, I still didn't have
How's
that.
your backfield, John? Oh no, he did it right through the chest wall in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my reason for wanting to cut off the hair is that next week when I go to the class and it's all shaved off, people will be like, "Oh, who's the new kid? Sup, y'all? It's Daniel again."
It's
And
true.
I'm ready for that reaction.
It really does change what you look like.
Hmm.
Gonna look human again.
I can't wait to be human again.
Eh,
So, side note, John, are you thinking about going to Gen Con?
Maybe.
Okay, cool.
so what would you like to do at Gen Con, Daniel? Or no, first explain what Gen Con is.
So, Gen Con is the world's largest tabletop gaming club. Not club, but convention. And you just kind of go around, play board games. And because it is so large, it has become just a general nerd convention with a major emphasis on board games. So, like 70% of it is purely board games. Then you've also got RPGs along with it.
I'd
But
say a
then,
lot of Magic the Gathering.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
That's that's about 20% of it. And then the rest of it is just standard nerd stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do is see if there's any. I don't understand how to look at a game and say I will enjoy playing this. So I'm just going to try and find games to play within time slots that I feel like, yeah, I'll want to play this game. And definitely looking into some of the panels to see if there's anything of interest there. Um, I generally enjoy the panels a bit more than the board games because, like, I enjoy playing with my friends because I know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and I'm kind of an asshole. And I'm always worried because nerds are the general type of people that are the biggest assholes, but are the worst at dealing with assholes.
Mhm.
And so I never feel comfortable and confident to completely be a dick.
You must
And
have
so
seen better panels than I have. What was interesting, my first year,
uh-huh.
all the panels but one were out of the park. You know, the year that we went and volunteered.
Yeah.
Then I've gone to more and more panels, and oh, it depends on the moderator. I have been to some terrible panels.
So
Terrible.
here's the difference, Mom, is that when you have gone to Gen Con, you had a plan for what panels to go to. I've never had that kind of thing. I've just kind of showed up to stuff and said, yeah, this looks interesting. And
Mm,
uh, with zero expectations walking in, I probably have had a better time. But like,
yes.
I have
Yes.
had expectations walking into games, and when they don't meet those expectations, it becomes very boring, and I just feel awkward and kind of annoyed.
Do you
Yeah.
like 3D games? Oh, sorry, John.
Oh, I was just saying, my plan for Gen Con is usually walk around with someone and point out tails and guess
Oh,
costume
God.
or butt plug.
Yeah,
Oh, oh.
Definitely have seen some that were definitely butt plugs.
yeah. It's welcome to the nerd community. I actually found out that furrydom goes back to the turn of the century, the 1900s.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like
Where?
with the rise of Disney came the idea of the funny animals character, and that
Uh,
expanded into furrydom. And so it Disney, as we all know, caused all of nerds' issues ever. All of the developmental shit that causes us to be weird,
Oh,
Disney's fault.
they remastered Totoro. I'm
Oh.
so angry to get the mastered that you guys don't remember watching when you were young, but I watched a million times.
Nope.
Okay, you have to get a Fox copy, and the cheapest one I found was $75.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was
Very annoying.
yes.
Yar har fiddly dee.
Being a pirate is all right with me.
Do what you want, because a pirate is free.
We
are
are a pirate.
Why did that song suddenly pop in my head?
I don't know, John. That's a really weird place for you to have gone.
Okay, so I agree with you though about Disney.
Yeah. It's really Disney confuses me as a company in the same way that all large companies confuse me.
Well, this shouldn't be confusing. They created the movie Frozen so that if you Google Disney Frozen, you won't find anything about him freezing his own corpse. Ta-da! Totally real.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
obviously.
Yeah,
That is the only explanation.
That is one of my favorite conspiracy theories, just because, like, it might not be wrong.
There's that little piece of doubt that keeps you from saying, no, you're a stupid conspiracy theorist.
But that doesn't mean anything's going to be done if you're cryogenically frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of scientists figured out how to restart pig brains after 4 hours of legal death.
No.
Yep.
In China, I saw a lot of people eating pig brains.
Oh my god.
They could have been brought back to search for truffles.
Not if they were boiled.
Oh my goodness.
So I went to a spicy hot pot, which is amazing, by the way. They have like a spicy side and a non-spicy side.
We hate you.
Absolutely delicious. But like, they went and like one of Chilin's cousins went and bought pig brains to eat, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And they're just like, "Oh, you can't see it." I'm like, "What? It looks like a brain. Is that a brain?" Yeah, but Americans get terrified. We're trying to keep you safe. Like, that was the most condescending thing ever. Like, no, we're just trying to keep you safe. Sure.
I appreciate it, but no, give me brain. I will eat it in front of you.
No.
Hold on.
No. I managed to gross out a whole table of Chinese.
Oh!
Have you ever heard of a funny little thing called a prion?
You haven't heard of prions?
You know what prions are?
Oh my god, that's truly no research.
Oh my god, that is next level.
What is a prion?
A prion is a misfolded protein that gets into certain receptors and basically kills your brain.
Oh, nice.
They are not alive, so they cannot be boiled. They cannot be destroyed in fire. They can't be... I think the only way that they can be destroyed is, like, acid. Radiation does nothing with them. So, explaining to a bunch of Chinese people what prions are and why they congregate in the brain, and just, like, my experiences with them of, like, hey, my parents can't donate blood.
Yep, I was literally going to say that. We can't donate blood because we were in Europe in a time before they figured out mad cow. And I had your grandfather's sister's husband died. So to let you know where we're going here, we're still in Kentucky. Died of a prion-related disease.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it was great because I explained what prions were, what they do, and where they congregate. And I was like, oh yeah, they're in the brain. Well, we can just boil them away. I'm like, it's not alive. You can't boil them. So we did some research,
Did
and
you
I literally,
really?
oh yeah, I pulled it up, and that's why I listed all those things. They're like, it
Hmm.
can't be destroyed by boiling, heat, radiation. It's
Hmm.
like radiation? What? Yeah. Apparently, it takes a long time and certain kinds of acid.
That is a little
Wow.
terrifying.
And then they boiled it and ate it anyway because they're like, it's delicious. So, fun little fact, if you bite into a boiled brain, it looks a little like cauliflower.
I
It's
could see that.
disgusting. Oh,
Mm,
we used to get a side of beef when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
and so I mean, we had all the innard stuff, and
Yeah.
brains are nasty. Brains are nasty. They're nasty. They're soft. There's a
yeah,
textural issue.
little intestines are nasty.
Oh,
So we had some of those, and you'd boil them, and they'd immediately like curl up into a spiral,
yes.
and like that was kind of funny. But then
Hmm.
so if you've ever eaten hot pot, you have a little bowl of sauce in front of you, and you just dip whatever you have in the sauce, and you eat it. So only the sauce had flavor, and then you have the small intestine, and it's like simultaneously hard and soft. Like the interior is still hard. The exterior is like this weird kind of like mushy, chewy, no, gummy, kind of like
Yeah.
gummy.
Uh-huh.
Like, and so like
So you
my
get to
teeth
keep
get
chewing and
a
chewing and
little
chewing.
bit in it, and it has no flavor. Like if it at least tasted good.
Hmm.
Oh, speaking of flavoring, this was, you guys will laugh about this.
All right.
Because I'm fairly notorious for number one, not salting my food enough for everyone. And number
Because you
two,
stick in a bunch of salty hot sauce on it.
well, but number two, also not tasting as I go. So,
Yeah.
Now that's a problem.
I learned
well,
that from mom, and neither do I. Internet 5.
hey, so,
Y'all are
so,
idiots.
so today
Yes.
I made a sauce that is going to go on the vegan casseroles so I could taste it. And
Hmm.
it was so funny because I tasted it. I'm like, this is delicious. But as soon as I dilute it by putting it over anything, you won't be able to taste it. And
Yeah.
it was like potatoes and all kinds of stuff. And I salted it to the recipe specifications, not to my taste. And I'm like, I go out to dad and I'm like, this is good now, but I don't think it's interesting enough to be good tomorrow. And
Hmm.
he's like, you're making it for you. Just add more cayenne. And I'm like, and
I
I
can
add a
do
little,
that.
and then I like spun it up again, and I had a little bit more. Oh my God, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. You guys would be so impressed. We're recording this, by the way.
Hey, Dad. Welcome
Prepare
to
to be on the
Facetiously
internet.
Familial. Goodbye from Facetiously Familial.
Oh my goodness. Joy's gonna follow him. Whew. Wow. Holding a cat is exhausting. Oh, I'm just so tired.
Dainty.
I know,
You
yeah.
need to go to bed.
There are so many words for that. And no. Oh my goodness.
Are you now finished with the substitute teaching job?
I am. But
Yes.
I told you this already. They are
You did.
creating a position for me at the school. They are going around in their budget and squirreling away money so that I have a job. Yay! I'm so
That is pretty
excited.
cool.
It
Nice.
is.
Mm-hmm.
So happy. And hold on, let me close the door again. Sorry, that was probably a scary view of my throat. Um, uh, and they gave me flowers. Okay, oh
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute, but I can make it better. So yes, I loved it. It made me happy. But the gal who is the receptionist at school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, two things. Did I tell you about the reason why she gets to sit in a quiet office when everyone's going crazy during walkathon?
You did, but say it here.
Oh my God, it was great. She says, if someone comes in to shoot up the school, I get shot first.
Oh yes.
I was like, that's amazing. And the other thing, she used to work on she worked on cruise ships. So she came in and made up a song and just like sang it in the office. It was amazing. It was exactly what your improv class is trying to create for you. That
Mhm.
you'll just go blah 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 blah, whatever. It was so cool to have someone who was so unafraid to let it rip.
Mhm.
That was great. So
The
anyway.
the teacher of my class is putting on an improv musical tonight, and I'm
Seriously?
interested to go, but at the same time, I got plans.
Yeah, churchy church.
Actually, not. The my
Really?
choir doesn't do Easter Vigil.
Oh, I hate you.
Ha!
Oh,
Ha!
so a buddy of mine he's no longer religious,
Yep.
and he got invited to two Easter masses, and I'm just like, those are the 3 or 4 hour ones, right? Yeah. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to neither of them, and if anyone asks, you went to the other one.
Well, I mean, like if you look at it narratively, it's really a great story, right?
Yes.
Now we don't,
Once, maybe twice.
but we
Which
don't we
is
don't do
why
all the
it's there
readings.
for when you are bringing in new individuals to the church.
That the problem is we have so many baptisms, we have to cut out some of the readings. So
Hmm.
it takes away some of that impact, and you're just dunking people for hours. You know? I mean, it just takes forever to
So
get
here's
through the number of people.
I have a proposal. There's
Yes.
a
We
great
accept.
invention that was created. It's called a super soaker.
I am so happy you went there. I went the exact same place.
So you just line up everyone in the pews, get the priest out there with the super soaker, and just squirt them all. Done.
Hey, good enough for me. They
Okay.
already do that with the olive branches and just slapping people around on Holy Thursday.
There you
Just
go.
redo it for Easter Vigil.
You had olive branches?
No, it is what
I
you.
like that. You
Anyways,
used the aspergillium or whatever it is.
yeah,
It
whatever.
was a stick that the priest found out back before the
Literally
service.
though, that is what we would do at the IFC. Is we had pine trees around, and we would just shuffle around in the
Did
foliage,
you really?
find an appropriate stick for the day that had some needles still on it, so that we
Oh,
could have
that's
some
funny.
retention of water when he dunks it.
That is so funny. That's really cool.
Hmm.
What a great thing. We didn't have an Easter egg hunt. We had a branch hunt. Yeah. We're pretty excited this year there is not an Easter egg hunt because it is drenched outside. Oh my God, it's so bad.
Yeah, we do not have waterproof eggs, and that would cause issues.
I'm pretty sure that our eggs are as old as I am.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, this is what you call reusing. It's good for the environment.
It's good for the
Reduce,
environment, except
reuse,
for the eggs
recycle.
that disappear every year.
Okay, that's the worst part is when like 4 or 5 years later you find one and it is like, or no, it's worse the first year because then they're covered with ants and they're
Hmm.
ugly. They are
If it's
nasty.
5 years old, the ants have already gotten to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's that
yeah.
nice little like pale pastel color.
Right, they're beautiful.
Right.
All of the
Color's
dye
uneven,
has
but
seeped into the lawn.
Golly. Yeah, that I remember there was one house that I worked on when I worked for a landscaper, and they had um they had this like ground cover that's like woody
Hmm.
and thick. So it's the one that I keep trying to prevent walking into my yard because my neighbor planted it and then they got rid of all of it and now it's in my yard. Anyway, that being said, it grows to be like, there we go. Now both hands are in there. Like, it grows to be like 6, 8 inches thick
Yeah.
over time. Every time I worked in this house, I found Easter eggs. every single time. And I worked there a lot. It was like, how many Easter eggs do you put out that the kids would be satisfied without finding the 15 I found this time? You know. Anyway.
That's why they have to put out so many, so that the kids are satisfied when they can't find those 15.
Or the adults just say, all right, we're done. After like 5 minutes. Like, yeah, no, we're going for the Easter egg hunt for this year. Maybe I'll find it next year.
You sound like the gal in what's the one with the Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Mhm.
Always watching you, Mike Wazowski. Always watching.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Monster University, which is the prequel to it. I'm
And
interested,
it completely rewrites the canon.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I love Monsters Inc.
It's really well done. Pixar puts on good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I've read the most interesting thing about Pixar is like they had all these successful movies and they were like, we need to do something different, which is like the exact opposite of Disney.
Yes.
And so they hired this guy and he went out and he picked all the people who were like smart but unsuccessful in their teams where they were currently. And they made The Incredibles. And in The Incredibles, they had to figure out how to do all that hair and all that because it was the first one that had all like people as characters, and so needed the hair and the texture and the water and everything. And they made all of the breakthroughs because these people were so unhappy at their other jobs. They were like, "We can do this." It was really
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that Incredible 2 is awful. It's not awful. It's just significantly worse.
Really high grossing though.
Yeah, because Incredibles was amazing.
Because Incredibles was incredible.
Yeah, the best part about Incredibles was the Pixar short at the beginning called Bow, and it was incredible. The rest of it was just, it was good. Like, I enjoyed the plot line. I could see it from a mile away, but again, kids movie. What do you expect? It's just, there is no reason for Mr. Incredible to be as highly valued as he was back in his heyday, according to this movie. Everything we see is that he can't do anything. Like, even when you think about the stuff that he did in Incredibles 1, he could not do that anymore. It is literally the next week, and he has been depowered to the point that he is worthless as a hero.
Wow.
It's a fun story about him learning how to be a stay-at-home dad. I did enjoy that section of it, but like, this is a stupid, nerdy complaint. The power scaling was off. Everything about the lore of these characters that has been set up no longer means much of anything. They wanted these things to happen in the movie, and so they made these things happen, even though it doesn't make sense based off of what had happened previously.
No, that's a problem.
Yeah, if they just put different characters in as this role and called it Supers, and here's a different Supers family, it would be good.
Nerd!
Yes.
Yes! Yes!
Just don't use those characters if you're going to change them.
Right. No, I'm with you
because... the purpose of the story is to change the character.
Okay, remember
to have a character arc.
Hold on, I can loop this around to our beginning. It is exactly what is wrong for you with the anime that the art style kicked you out. How's that for an ending? I got it to make a circular. I'm not good.
So the issue is that we've still got 10 more minutes.
No, it is perfect. This is okay. This is like when you explain too much for a fucking joke. Okay? You need to just when you are perfect, and when I've done it for you, You should accept.
You
Okay.
know, an ending is kind of like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit.